Hey guys, I've got a really fun video for us today. So I'm gonna show you how to not play bass like a guitar player. Dude, I love playing bass. Alright, so I'm going to share 3 common mistakes that us guitar players make when playing bass, or when attempting to play bass. Now hang around to the end of the video, because after we go over these 3 tips that I'm about to share with you, I've actually got a bonus tip that I want to really elaborate on some, and this is going to really help you, and it's going to make you very happy as a guitar player. So mistake number 1, and this is probably the most common, is thinking that you have to play every single note on bass that's being played on guitar. And that's just not true. There's actually certain parts of songs, especially in metal music, that you don't want the bass doing the exact same thing the guitar is doing. And I'm going to share an example with you right here. So as you can see, or hear rather, I made a very poor attempt in trying to replicate what the guitar is doing on bass, and it just doesn't quite sound right. So here's what you do instead whenever the guitar is doing some real busy work there, maybe playing some higher notes. Sometimes you just want to hang on that one note, or maybe it's just a series of some simple notes to hold that rhythm section while the rhythm guitar is kind of going off and doing some melodic things or playing more notes, that sort of thing. And that way it just kind of blends together. This is what it should sound like. That's much better. So as you heard, the guitar and the bass guitar, they're not trying to compete with one another. They're not playing the exact same thing. You've got your guitar doing some real cool rhythm stuff, let that shine, and then the bass is over here, or up the middle rather, just carrying that rhythm, holding everything together. Number 2 mistake that us guitar players often make when playing bass is somewhat of the same as mistake number 1, but it's actually kind of the opposite. I know that just didn't make any sense at all, but let me explain. Sometimes in songs, in metal songs, or really any song, there's parts where the guitar is maybe holding a note a little bit longer, or there's maybe just less notes being played in transition. Now, these are times where you might want the bass doing something a little different and moving a little bit more. Again, kind of the opposite of what we just went through in mistake number 1. So I want you to hear this clip. I'm going to just play the regular bass notes following the guitar, and this is what it sounds like. So that sounded kind of dull and boring and bland. It's like having chicken wings with no hot sauce. Alright, so what we want to do here, you hear those guitar notes kind of being held out. We actually want the bass moving around a little bit, and what this is going to do is kind of fill in those dead spots and just bring the song to life. So let's try this and see if it sounds better. Now that was much better, and I personally love when songs do this, when you've got those guitar notes being held out, but then the bass is doing this little run in between. That sounds awesome. Mistake number 3 is somewhat controversial. There is no right or wrong way to play your bass. And this is a really common mistake that us guitar players make when playing bass, because some of us play with our picks, and then we may hear other people, maybe they're bass players, maybe they're not, saying,
"You can't play with your pick, you've got to play with your fingers."
Look, one of the most ultimate and highly respected bass players in metal music plays bass with a pick. Dave Ellefson from Megadeth. So that debunks that myth very quickly. But I just don't want you getting into that war of like, well, pick versus fingers. Who cares? You know, play what is comfortable and what feels natural to you. If it feels natural to play with your fingers, as I know a lot of bass players do, hey, fine, do that. I prefer to play with a very thick pick. My point is, it really doesn't matter. Again, just do what feels comfortable to you and what sounds good in the overall mix. Now for the bonus tip, and this is really going to resonate with all of us guitar players and it's going to make you very happy. It's okay to put bass solos in your music. Now, don't play solos on bass throughout the entire song. Don't do that because that's going to sound like crap. But it is okay to throw a bass solo in certain parts of your music. Maybe you have like an intro or an outro, or there may be like a break in between like a chorus or bridge or something like that. And actually, I've got a clip I want to share with you real quick. I want you to hear what I'm talking about. So that's actually one of my own tracks from my album I released in 2019 called Masterpiece. The song is called Never Enough, and this is actually played as part of the intro. This is one of those songs that's got a pretty lengthy intro before it gets into the vocals, which I kind of like because Metallica did a lot of that in their older albums, and just a lot of older metal bands did that. So I kind of tried to bring that back a little bit, man, because I miss that in music, you know? So anyway, that's just one example of how you can just throw in little bass solos. And as a guitar player, you know, we typically like to play those melodies. So it's perfect for us, man. It's really just awesome and natural to throw in a little bass solo. And I honestly don't think enough metal songs out there have prominent bass parts. And I know you're going to tell me in the comments all the songs that do, and hey, that's okay, please do. But what I'm saying is there's not a lot of songs out there. Like, you listen to most albums and there might be one little piece of bass solo here and there, but hey, it's good to have that. It's good to kind of like break up the music a little bit so it's not all just one thing. Look, guitar solos, they're all over the place. The singer gets to shine the whole time. The drummer's doing their thing. You know, you can hear the drums in metal music just fine, but the bass player often gets left out. So hey, as a guitarist, don't be afraid to throw in a little bass solo. There is one thing I do recommend as a metal guitarist that's gonna play bass. I do recommend that you get a 5-string bass, okay? This is actually my ESP LTD D5. I've actually got a review on this bass. I'll throw it up here. But yeah, do a 5-string bass because that just gives you so much more range of those lower notes and carrying that bottom end for your metal music. In fact, you can play just a regular 6-string guitar in standard tuning and then use that 5th bass string, that B string, to fill in like the notes that are like a C or D or whatever you're playing there. And that's just gonna make your standard tuning 6-string sound so much more heavier in the mix. It's gonna make your song sound heavier. So that's just a little tip I wanted to leave you guys with. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. And also please make sure you subscribe to my channel and ding that little bell so you get all my notifications. Guys, again, thank you so much for the support. Until the next time, keep it metal.